Hello there, muy buenas tardes, good afternoon. How's everyone doing today? So welcome to another interview with Mr. Moran on Mr. Moran TV. And today we have a special guest. We have Mr. Jessee Espinosa. Hey, Jesse, how you doing?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited. I had a lot of people calling me and a few messages here and there, and they were really excited that you were going to be here today with us. And so I just want to say thank you for taking the time. And I think this is very important for the people in Merced.
Well, thank you for having me, Jose. I think it's pretty honoring to be on Mr. Moran TV. I watched the previous specials; they went really well, and I think it is really important that we engage with the community and have these conversations, so we can really make the best decision, going forward on how to represent our students. So, thank
Great. Well, thank you so much. So let's get right to it, because I think your time is valuable. So tell us a little bit about Jesse. Who is Jesse? Tell us about your family, about your schooling. What are you currently doing right now? Where do you live?
Yeah, thanks, Jose. So my name is Jessee Espinosa. I'm from Merced. I'm a lifelong Merced native. I went to all these schools. I went to Pioneer and Weaver. Then I went over to McSwain, Buhack. I'm at Merced College right now, or I went to Merced College. Now I'm at the university. So I went through all these schools, and I really know Merced. And I'm from Merced. I'm going to probably spend, probably the rest of my life in Merced. And Right now, I'm serving as a youth director and advisor at 3 different high schools for 2 different programs. That'd be the Leadership Experience and Opportunity Program at Merced High, as well as the Lift While You Lead program at Yosemite and Golden Valley High Schools. And these are both youth development projects that aim to raise up our student base and to prepare them to reach their potential and remove their barriers. And so, I'm a first generation college student myself. Neither of my parents graduated from high school. And so, I can imagine at one time it didn't seem like a possibility for me. And now I can't imagine not going to college and doing this. So I understand the kind of barriers that are set up, or the barriers that there are in education to kind of achieving your potential. But that's one of the reasons that I'm really passionate about Merced, and I'm passionate about our youth. And I know the potential that we have in our school district and how set up we can be for our students. And so, yeah, I have a long-term kind of stake in our community. I'm possibly going to raise my kids in these in this city, and they're going to go to these schools. And so, looking to our school district, I'm really excited about our possibilities that we can do there. I think we've seen a lot of growth in Merced in the recent years, and that's really encouraging. And I think that one way we can ensure that growth continues on for decades or generations to come is to make sure that our public education system is top notch, and that we're producing students who are productive members of society with skills to be whatever they want to be in life, and chase their dreams. So I'm really encouraged by that, and I'm really excited to possibly have the chance to kind of have that positive impact on our community.
Well, that is amazing. That is amazing. And one of the questions that actually I had from a friend of mine from that lives in Merced was uh, that education is really important, and it should be a priority for all candidates and for all sections of Merced. And I know that Merced has kind of like been, divided in one way or another throughout time, and I think it's time to bring it together and to do it for the entire population of the entire city of Merced. Thank you so much. So the next question is how, well, and I think you already kind of answered this question is, and I had a plan is how involved are you with youth and educational programs and also in the community besides educational programs?
Yeah, so as I said, I run the Leadership Experience and Opportunity Program, Merced High, as well as the Lift White Lead program. And these are youth activity programs that I'm really excited to be involved in. We work with the next generation of leaders, and that takes up a large bit of each of my week. And I'm just doing each of those programs, making sure those students are on the right track and getting the resources they need. But I'm also a second-term board member for Rotary Community Corps, and I know you're a part of that as well. And it's a great organization. Essentially, in a nutshell, what we do is we create a community workforce of volunteers, leaders and movers and shakers in our community, to conquer challenges that arise in our community. If there's a problem, it's never too big for our kind of organization to conquer. And we put together our minds, our resources, and say, what can we do to help? And so that's part of where I get my drive and to help people. And it's a way for me to channel that and actually be able to make an impact on my community. But as well as I've gone through a couple leadership development programs in Merced, learning about our county, learning about our education system. I just graduated from class. I was class 34 of Leadership Merced, and that was a great program. I was run through our Chamber of Commerce, and really it introduced us to not only the movers and shakers in our community to kind of get us in the works of doing that, but also it taught us about our county and how it works as a whole. And I agree with what you said 110%, that our county and our city would work so much better when our schools and our city government and our different legislators all work together. I think that I'm very of the team mentality, and I think that our entire system has a lot to value, a lot to give. We have not only a community college in our city, but we have a University of California right in our backyard. Having one of these is a great privilege to have. Having both of these is an awesome opportunity for our students, because community colleges are, they say education is the great equalizer, and that is no more clearer than in a community college, where everyone can go get that next step on their education. And then having the university in our town serves as a great stepping stone. They have a buddy system, a fast track for any of our students in Merced to kind of get a college education. And I think for even that's important even in K through 8. I think getting the putting students on the right track is it starts early. And even if college isn't the option for everyone, it should be an option for everyone who wants it. And so we should be making students aware of that, and kind of showing them the tools and resources that we have right here in Merced, and working with our businesses and working with our governments to kind of provide as many opportunities as we have, because I think Merced's strong. And we're just be a little more connected, which I know is, it's even a theme in Rotary Community Corps, in connecting people together to make Merced stronger. That's what I'm about. I believe in the team mentality, and I'm excited to do that for Merced City Schools.
Great, thank you so much. I really I appreciate that answer, and I think that's partially it was already answered, but it's kind of tied up into two different questions that I have coming up. Why are you running for school district? What is your goal in it? I think you already mentioned that. But the next question would be, what experience do you have that makes you the best candidate to represent your district in the school district?
Yeah, thanks. So I've only have gone to these schools. I've been involved in Merced City schools my entire life, sitting in the seats where these students have sat, feeling the problems. But also that's a pretty recent experience in terms of education changes all the time. And I understand what it's like to be a student in distance learning, be a student behind classroom. Computers technology plays a large role in our classes. And, going forward, technology can be a huge strength or a huge burden. I know recently we did a huge transition over to Parent Square, and that Parent Square is like a format for parents and teachers to communicate, and really we've been utilizing that really well to kind of increase parent engagement. And so that kind of goes along with the question before is, what do I want to do? Well, one of the things I want to do is increase parent engagement, and I think technology is a good key and access to that. But also, I have a lot of experience working with our community leaders, both in our school districts and our schools, as well as within our community. I always played a pivotal role on Merced College's effort to kind of expand their educational facilities and provide those type of equalizing opportunities to our community, as well as my role in our youth programs throughout our local high schools. And I do a couple programs even at Franklin Elementary, including a pen pal buddy system to kind of get kids, even thinking about college with UC. So I'm kind of involved in our community and our schools, and really with this, I think that one of the main reasons I believe that I would be the best candidate for this is really my passion and my energy for this. I got advice from a person who held this position previously before me, and they said, this position is what you make of it. That you can go to your meetings, you can make your votes, and then say, that you're done, or you can be that candidate that's putting that extra mile, that's learning more about what other districts are doing. You're asking your community members what they need, what barriers that they're going through, and I have that type of energy to just work and do whatever we have to do to raise Merced up and to provide the best. I've met with just about every single principal in our district, and we have 19 schools. I've met with almost just about every single principal. I've met with teachers. I've met with community members, had a couple hour-long conversations with community members who had concerns about the district and had concerns about their children and how we were going to progress with that. And I think those conversations are critical to forming proper solutions, because the more that the board can understand what's going on in the front lines, the more we can make solutions to the problems that they're experiencing. So I'm very of the team mentality. I'm very of getting out there, talking to people. I think that community engagement is both, on one hand, on the board to make it easy and accessible and encourage people to come and express their concerns and ways we can improve, because we can't possibly be expected to have every perspective, but we're expected to hear out those perspectives and then provide solutions to them. But also, it's on the onus of the board members to reach out and to put that energy into reaching out to populations of people who might even be disengaged and find out what they need. What can help them engage better with the system. And so I'm really passionate about this. I've been working in Merced, and I'm ready to use all of the energy and passion that I've dedicated to all those projects and focus it onto our Merced City schools and use that as my part in raising up Merced. So.
Great. Well, thank you so much for that. I think you mentioned something very important for which I'm very passionate about, and then I think I agree with that. That engagement of having and reaching out to parents. I think that a lot of parents feel disconnected, but they primarily feel disconnected because sometimes the schools are not reaching out in the proper way. So I appreciate that response. We do have a question here. If you can. I have worked in, this is from Catherine Show Rodriguez. She has worked in many schools across Merced County, have seen more and more young children with little or almost no language skills. How will you work with other trustees to ensure teachers have the resources to help these students thrive in the educational environment?
Yeah, Catherine, thank you for that question. That's a great question. I can relate to, even in my experiences and being in these seats, that there were times where, teachers popcorn around and some students just have a little more trouble than other students reading at fast pace. And I have conversations where we have individuals showing up to first grade who don't know letters, don't know read, and that sets them farther behind on the track. So there's a couple things I would like to see happen in terms of prioritizing our literacy education. First, I think educating the public on how important pre-K is and TK and getting kids fast track on that education. I asked, is what students who do preschool are already set off to do better in terms of they learn their letters and all that before going into first grade, and so they have a good start. And research shows if if they're behind grade level by like grade 3, it's harder for them to catch up. So getting a good start is key to making sure our students are set. So I would like to see more encouragement on getting kids enrolled in preschool. And I ask, is the issue capacity or is it enrollment? And I hear it's enrollment. That's we can serve more students. It's just a matter of there's not enough people signing their kids up for preschool, and so getting an education campaign throughout the city on the value of pre-K and how much that can set your student apart. That's the first step. But also we need to be prioritizing literacy. I'm very of the belief, and the board has stated this a lot of times, that a student needs to be able to learn before they can engage with other subjects. You need to be able to read before you can read to learn. And so we need to be standing and making sure that everything that we're doing is in the best interest of literacy and improving their literacy rates. I would like to see us donate the resources to creating a literacy coach on our campuses whose job it is to address the students who are falling behind on their literacy, and provide interventions. I have a similar philosophy with our English learners. Our district is really big on English learners. We have 20% of our families and our students are English learners, students. And what we need to be doing for them, especially during COVID right now where they're behind screens, we need to be prioritizing their English language development, making sure they're receiving the adequate time dedicated to learning English language development skills, and then also tracking and assessing where they are. So if students are falling behind, we don't wait till the end of the year to say that and be like, oh no one learned anything. We see it's happening in real time and be able to provide additional interventions and resources to those students. But also, it's a part of engaging those families and keeping them in the loop. Right now, things change almost on the daily on like what we're doing in our schools and what programs we have and how they're being run. So what we need to be doing is making sure we're including them in the conversation, making sure we're reaching out to those English learners' families, and providing them the support. I think that one of the ways we can do that is, board member effort, but also I like the direction the district is going with this community newsletter. I want to advocate and make sure I'm there to advocate that we maximize that opportunity and making sure that when we're using a monthly newsletter, that it's reaching everyone in the community in an accessible language. It's providing the events that are going on in our community, ways for them to get involved, and making sure that we're making the most out of our efforts in communication. I think it's a matter of constant outreach to those students, standing by your values of literacy, providing those resources to raise them up, and making sure your students are on track from an early development start is going to be key to making sure that our students are doing well. So those are some of the things that I like to do for raise up literacy, and that's one of my main priorities is going on. So thank you for the question.
Great. Well, thank you so much for those questions. Let me just double check, see if there are any questions. We did have a comment that I wanted to share here with you, and from Mr. Zila, the Tacodilla. And so just a comment about how you were able to step up and going straight to the principals, which is great. And something else, I think, let's see, I think literacy, not only because me being in education, I can see how important it is, but I think you have, and the principals have mentioned something very important, that is, yes, if the goal should be to get all kids to be literate by the once they are in third grade. After that, then it becomes a little bit more difficult. So the sooner we catch them, I guess, the better. So with let's see. So we do have one more question: is which city, which district? What are your two goals to be the best candidate for school district trustee?
Yeah, so schools for our my really goals for our district, you can pretty sum them up into two goals. Is that I want to improve the performance of our students, making sure that our students are performing well, have the potential to reach their or have the ability to reach their potential and reach whatever goals they're aspiring to. So I want to raise their performance, but I also want to increase their positive well-beings, and making sure that we're making they have positive experiences at school, and positive well-beings is their entire in their entire system. It's their physical well-being, their emotional well-being, their physical well-being. Making sure that students are receiving the resources they need to be healthy, productive members and be engaged in classes. Those are kind of my goals, and how we get there. A bunch of different goals. With performance, what leads into performance? We need to be focusing on attendance, raising our students' attendance rates, and making sure they're coming to class. And the more they come to class, the more they receive the lessons, the better they're going to do. Better our ADA is, our average daily attendance, which is a leading impacting factor out to the overall health of our budget. We can get students to show up. We have a better fiscal standing to actually provide the resource they need. and making sure. So those all lead into performance, making sure that they're doing well. Especially with our state scores, I know that our schools are, it's one of the common factors that get our schools get judged by is our state scores, and so I think that we are sure that our students are performing well, that they have the options, that they have the grades and options to go to any college, go to anything that they want to do in life. Make sure that they have the skills ready to. So performance, positive well-beings, and that also encompasses family engagement and making sure that our families are engaged. That's also going to lead into their performance. I envision our school like a whole macro system, and I just want our students to do good and feel good, and of course be safe on campus. So those are the priorities I have, and how we get there. Well, those are the plans, and so I appreciate the question.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for those questions, and thank you for your responses to those questions. Before we end, Jessee, is there anything else you might want to add?
Shoot, well, register to vote. I appreciate it. Whether you're going to vote, I think voting is an important thing for everyone. But also, I appreciate Jose you allowing me to come on and speak on Mr. Moran TV. I feel like a celebrity. I've never been on TV before, but I'm excited to do so. And please, to anyone watching, feel free to reach out to me if you have any additional questions. One of my main strongest points is that we have to be communicating in order to get the right answers. It's like, if there's problems, my campaign is called Breaking Barriers and Building Futures. And it's all about addressing the problems that are out there and providing solutions. And how can we know what the problems are if we're not out there, if we're not asking those questions and learning? And so please feel free to reach out, ask me any questions. I'm more than happy to have a conversation. And even going forward, when if I am a board member, same thing applies. Is that we're all in this together. We're all a team. Let's have those conversations, figure out what the problems are and what we can do to solve them. So I appreciate your time, Mr. Moran, for inviting me onto the show. And please feel free to reach out to me at any time, anyone watching. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Jessee, for taking the time to be here today. I know you're really busy, especially at this close to the election. So best of luck in the city of Merced. And everyone, make sure that you guys reach out to Mr. Jessee Espinosa, to his website or to his direct contact information. And other than that, I just want to say thank you to everyone that took the time to be here and watching, and for following Mr. Moran TV. Thank you. Bye, everyone.